We didn't always watch football at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Protect the football. Buffalo Wild Wings. Football the way it should be.
Welcome to the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Corner here at the Hoopsville National Invitational Classic. I'm Dave McHugh, host of Hoopsville, and joined once again by another coach here at Stevenson University here for the Classic, Coach Titus from UMass-Boston. And Coach, first off, welcome to the 2012-13 season, and welcome to the Hoopsville Classic.
Thank you very much. It's been enjoyable. Quick 2 days, but enjoyable 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen today, but hopefully it'll be enjoyable going home.
Yeah, we're actually chatting with him after his first game and shortly before his second game against Stevenson here at the Classic. And you know, you have a young team in some senses. You've been around for was this your 37th season, and you've got some great talent on this squad, certainly, and the Rookie of the Year in the Little East, which says a lot considering the season you guys had in Delucia. It looks like on paper you've got a squad that can maybe do some things this year.
Well, we're hoping so. You know, we started 4 freshmen last year, and we were pretty much a freshman-sophomore team. The year before, we had 11 freshmen, so we made a decision we would live with it for a couple of years, let them make their mistakes and grow, and hopefully it pays off and we can keep it going. I think that this year's team is interesting in that we've added some new pieces from the junior college ranks. Rasheem Benson is one of them, and he brings a level of maturity when he plays well. I think he got a little excited in the game yesterday. Vinny is an interesting player. You know, he has great skill level. He has a great basketball IQ. He understands the game and how to play. He never forces. And there are times when we really have to get on him to shoot more and become more aggressive offensively. But I think hopefully today you'll see him step it up just a little bit more than he did yesterday.
A long trip for the team to start from Boston down here to the Baltimore area. But it seems like I've talked to a lot of the coaches here at the Classic. They kind of want that challenge at the beginning of the year that maybe doesn't always end up happening. Was that the mentality a little bit? You wanted a little bit more of a challenge to start the season, kind of kick things off in the right direction?
Absolutely. When Coach Stewart first talked to me about this tournament, we were at a recruiting event, I believe in Florida, and it sounded exciting. Clearly, he was going to have some good teams participating and a chance to really test the team that needed to be tested early. We thought we could be good, and we wanted to be tested early. So, you know, I thought yesterday's game was an interesting game for us because that team, Franciscan, plays a different style than most of the teams in our conference. And, you know, they're young. They played hard. They didn't have the speed or the quickness. So we had to sort of make some adjustments that were interesting for us for the first game.
You bring up the conference. We'll touch on that in just a minute, but let's talk out of conference. How do you see the out of conference lining up for you guys after this tournament?
It's a tough schedule. We go home today. We practice tomorrow. We play Fitchburg on Tuesday, and they got a veteran team, a really good team. Over Thanksgiving, we host our tournament. We open up with University of New England, which is another veteran team, and Trinity College out of Connecticut, which is always good. And the week after that, we play MIT, which I believe is still currently ranked #1 in the country. So before we get into conference play, we've got some challenging games, but that's the way we want it. We want to get ready for the conference.
Well, and then we talk about the conference. You know, the Little East sometimes I think is forgotten when you talk about the NUMAC and the NESCAC and the rest up in New England, but it's not forgotten in the sense of some of the schools have really succeeded in the NCAA tournament and succeeded in the regular season. Western Connecticut, Eastern Connecticut, Rhode Island College. It may be a deeper conference than many people realize, but usually there's always 1 or 2 in the fray. Can you compete this year? Are you going to play a little spoiler? How do you see yourself setting up, not only this year, but down the road?
Well, you know, last year, I think it was 11 games, we lost by 3 points or somewhere in that range. And I thought that the team competed, and I think that we'll always compete. We have to learn how to win. Yeah. That's really our key right now. And so, yeah, I think we'll compete in the conference. And, you know, listen, you named some of the teams, but UMass-Dartmouth has been to a Final Four. University of Southern Maine has been to a Final Four. So our conference is tough, and we sort of beat each other up night in and night out. And most years it's a little top-heavy. So the teams at the top generally beat up the teams at the bottom, and then it's cyclical, and that sort of flips, and we'll get some better teams, or we'll get some of the teams at the bottom flip to the top, and vice versa. I think it's a very, very good conference. We happen to think that it's probably in New England, right there with the NESCAC, which is most people consider to be the best Division III conference in New England.
let's go back to your talent. In your 37 years, have you had this good a talent at such a young, the freshmen, sophomores, versus the maturity that comes along when you get juniors and seniors? Have you had this kind of core before?
Well, we have some 20 years ago, and when we had Ken Hall and Robert White and that crew, they were very, very good. And they went to 2 NCAA tournaments. This group is interesting to me in that, they have the ability. We have to get on the same page. And I think once we can get it clicking, and what I talk to them about is being on a string as a team. And when that string snaps, everybody sort of moves in unison. If we can get there, and that's where we're trying to get, then I think that we can be very good. We have to make better basketball plays. I thought we made some poor basketball plays last night. So we have to settle down and take our time. And hopefully last night was just first game jitters. But we've had some tremendous practices with this group. They work hard. They're fully committed. They get along well. I really, really am enjoying coaching this group.
You talked earlier about running into Coach Gary Stewart down in Florida on recruiting, and a great article by D3Sports.com's Brian Falzerano talks about how you got some of the players like Vinny DeLucia from Florida literally at the 11th hour. Is broadening your reach outside of New England really kind of what you're focusing on, or is it you got to go everywhere?
Yeah, you do. For a long time we really survived with local kids, and we did fairly well. Right into the 90s, and we got hit with the big issue of no dormitories. Well, a couple of things happened. One, you got a lot more Division III schools in New England.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of junior colleges, there were a lot of all-women schools that became co-ed and became Division III. So the competition for those local kids got stiffer. And even our local kids were saying that they didn't want to come and live at home. It's like being in high school. They wanted to be off campus or on campus. There was an apartment building complex built behind the campus in the 90s, and that sort of helped us a lot because that's where all the athletes live now, and it allowed us to go out of town more. So in the last 5 or 6 years, all of our programs have taken a positive hit because of that, and you can see them gearing up. I think for us, it's good to get out of town players to integrate with some in-town players. Now, you saw Jaleel Mosi last night, our freshman. You didn't see the freshman, who I think is our best player. He's not playing right now. He's got a bad knee. But Gerard Mays is just an unbelievable player. And he's a 6'6" athlete who can shoot, handle. He can do a lot of things. So, we're back on some of the local kids now. And the other one is C.J. Dardell, who was not on this trip for disciplinary reasons, but he's a really good player out of Charlestown High School in Boston.
Very good. He's Coach Titus from UMass-Boston, and Coach, a tradition on Hoopsville is we always give the coach the final word. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with anybody who may be tuning in?
Well, sure. If there are coaches watching, call Gary for next year. You'll enjoy this tournament.
That's a perfect final note. Thank you very much. Thanks again, and this has been another Buffalo Wild Wings Coach's Corner from the Hoopsville National Invitational Classic.